Welcome back, everybody. We're diving into digital marketing procurement today. You sent us this article, Key Takeaways, Digital Marketing Procurement. It's by the Procure4 marketing team. Really interesting stuff. And we always talk about how creative marketing is, but I don't think we often think about how we actually get those creative things made. Like, how do we actually get the right people, the right contracts, all of that in place?
That's a really good point. You can have like the best idea in the world for a campaign, but if you don't have the right partners, the right contracts, and if you're not measuring things correctly, the whole thing can just completely fall apart.
Yeah, it's like building a house. You need to have like a good foundation before you start thinking about what color you're going to paint the walls.
Totally. A good foundation is key. And that's exactly where digital marketing procurement comes in, making sure every dollar you spend on marketing is actually going to get you closer to hitting your business goals.
So this article starts off by talking about a myth, this idea that digital marketing procurement is all about just getting the lowest price.
Yeah, right. It's definitely not just about cutting costs. It's about understanding, you know, what each marketing service really is, like whether we're talking about SEO or social media or email marketing. And then from there, finding the right partners that really get what you're trying to do.
I like that you said partners. How can someone make sure they're choosing the right agencies or vendors, the ones who are actually aligned with their goals?
Well, I think transparency is a big one, when you're looking at different partners. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions. Like really dig into how they do things, how they've done in the past, and how they actually know something is successful or not. Like you're looking at SEO agencies, don't just accept rankings as like the be all and end all. Ask about how they find keywords, how they build those backlinks, and most importantly, how do they make sure the traffic they bring you turns into leads or sales?
Yeah, I've definitely had those moments where you see like a spike in traffic, but
Yeah.
it doesn't actually lead to anything meaningful.
Exactly. You need to really be on top of tracking and reporting to avoid that. Don't fall for these vague promises or, metrics that don't actually mean anything. Have clear KPIs in place and make sure your agencies are showing you how their work is actually making a difference.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, the article had this really cool case study, the Go Green campaign. It stood out to me because it wasn't just about selling stuff. It was about showing that this company was really committed to sustainability and connecting with customers who cared about the environment.
Yeah, that was a great example. What I found interesting about that one is they went beyond those usual things you hear, like teamwork and clear goals. They had a very specific goal: increase brand perception
Hmm.
among people who are into being green. And they wanted to increase it by 20%. And to measure that, they used social listening tools and surveys. So it wasn't just about making people feel good. They wanted hard data.
And they actually got those results by having everyone on the same page, right? Like procurement and marketing weren't working in separate bubbles.
Right. They were working together the whole time. And that collaboration was super important to making it a success. I can just imagine all the brainstorming sessions they had, combining that strategic procurement mindset with the creativity of the marketing team.
That's such a good point. That campaign really highlights how important it is to be flexible, too,
Yeah.
because the market is changing all the time. You need to be able to shift your strategy when you need to.
Exactly. The Go Green team made sure their contracts with their vendors were flexible. So if they needed to change direction quickly, they could. Like at one point, they noticed their social media strategy wasn't working. So they moved some of their budget to influencer marketing. And that made a huge difference.
That's a great example of how looking at the data can help you change course and get much better results.
Rare.
And speaking of staying ahead of the curve, the whole Go Green thing just shows how important it is to adapt to new trends, especially in the world of social media.
Oh, yeah. Social media is a whole other animal. It's always changing. New platforms pop up all the time. And the algorithms are constantly changing too. So to really make social media work for you, you've got to be flexible, you've got to experiment, but most importantly, you've got to know what your audience actually cares about.
I like to think of it as each platform having its own language. Like you wouldn't talk the same way on LinkedIn as you would on TikTok.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to find agencies or people who really specialize in each platform. You need someone who gets the nuances, who knows what type of content works best, and how to talk to people in a way that feels genuine.
And of course, we can't forget about email marketing. Some people might think it's a little old school, but it's still incredibly powerful. It's a great way to connect with your customers.
That's really interesting. There's been so much buzz about social media and all these new channels, but I actually think email marketing is more important than ever. What do you think?
I totally agree. In a way, I think email is even more important now. because there's so much noise out there. With email, you can have a one-on-one conversation with your audience.
Yeah.
You can really personalize things.
Definitely. The key is to go beyond just blasting out generic emails to everyone. It's about creating campaigns that are targeted and personalized, campaigns that actually provide value to the people who are getting them. So that means segmenting your audience based on what they're interested in, using data to inform your content, and of course, making sure you're not doing anything shady with people's data.
That's a good point about data privacy. And it all goes back to the idea of strategic procurement. It's not just about finding the cheapest email marketing service. It's about finding a partner who understands your audience, who gets your goals, and who's on the same page as you when it comes to doing things the right way.
Absolutely. It's about building true partnerships, not just transactional relationships.
Relationships where everyone wins.
Exactly. Partnerships are key. And, just like any partnership, you need to check in and see how things are going. You can't just assume that everything is working perfectly.
You're so right.
Yeah.
So how do we actually do that? Like, how do we know if our digital marketing procurement strategy is working? What should we be measuring?
I think the idea of a balanced scorecard can be really helpful here. It's a way to look at not just the money you're making, but also other things that show if your marketing is successful.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like a bigger picture view.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like if you were going to a restaurant, you wouldn't just look at the prices on the menu, right?
Yeah.
You'd also think about how the food tastes, the atmosphere, service, maybe even what other people are saying about it online.
That's a great analogy. So it's not just about saving money. It's about the overall value.
Right. In addition to thinking about your ROI, you might also want to look at things like, how much does it cost to get a new customer? What's the lifetime value of a customer? How are people talking about your brand online? Are the leads you're getting actually turning into paying customers?
That's a really good list.
Yeah.
I think this balanced scorecard idea would really make people think more carefully about their marketing and stop chasing those metrics that don't really mean anything.
Absolutely. And the great thing about this approach is you can adjust things as you go. If you see that your customer acquisition cost is super high, or that the leads you're getting aren't very good, you can change your strategy.
It's all about continuous improvement. This has been such a great conversation. We've talked about so much, like how digital marketing procurement isn't just about cutting costs and how important it is to be on the same page as your partners.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground, like the need to be flexible to look at the data and to have expertise in all these different areas of digital marketing.
And I think the big takeaway here is digital marketing procurement is all about finding the right balance. It's about balancing cost with quality and finding solutions that are actually innovative.
It's about balancing that analytical side of procurement with the creativity that's so important in marketing and finding what works best for your specific company.
Now, before we wrap things up, I have a question for you, the listener. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to digital marketing? Is it finding good agencies? Is it measuring your ROI? Is it keeping up with all the changes that are happening all the time? Or maybe it's about finding that balance we were just talking about.
Take a second to think about that, because everything we talked about today can help you overcome those challenges and really succeed.
This deep dive was just a starting point, but I hope it's given you some solid ideas to work with.
The most important thing is to stay curious, to keep learning, and to try new things.
Yeah, don't be afraid to shake things up. Ask tough questions and see what you can achieve.
And never underestimate the power of working together. Having the right people on your team, both inside and outside your company, can make a world of difference.
So go out there and conquer the digital marketing world. We're rooting for you.
We've given you a toolbox, all ready to build your digital marketing procurement strategy.
Right, and now it's time to actually use those tools.
Yeah.
Get out there, experiment, see what works for you. Yeah, love that. It's all about learning as you go, and you don't have to figure it all out on your own. There's a ton of resources out there.
Oh, for sure. There are so many books and articles and online communities all about digital marketing procurement. Plus, you can always talk to a consultant, if you want some extra guidance.
It's like having a mentor, someone who's already been through it all and can help you avoid making the same mistakes.
Exactly. And as you get more experience, think about sharing what you've learned with others. Pay it forward.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We can all learn from each other.
Exactly. We're all in this together.
And at the end of the day, digital marketing is all about people. Connecting with people, telling stories, building relationships.
So true.
So let's bring that same mindset to procurement. Let's find partners who are passionate about the same things we are.
That's when the magic happens, when you have that shared passion.
This has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into digital marketing procurement.
It was my pleasure.
We hope you learned something new and that you're feeling inspired to take your digital marketing to the next level. That's all for today. Happy marketing, everyone.